Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome on in. I don't know why I'm doing this for my sins, but we are cooking prawn pasta dish tonight, and we're also going to do a mushroom pasta dish for those vegetarians out there. And a couple of people messaged me as well and said they might be doing a chicken with it as well, which you can do, and I'll cover that. So I'm going to make the prawn pasta and I'm going to make the mushroom pasta. When I make the mushroom pasta, I'm going to talk about what you will do if you're going to add some chicken. Now, some of you are making the cocktail and some of you are not. So we're going to do a little bit of walk around and have a look at all the ingredients. And then I'll make the cocktail and then we'll get into cooking our pasta dish. I'm figuring that we'll be hanging out together, having this little party for probably about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. I think some of you, if you've got a YouTube account, you'll be able to ask questions, or you might want to go, slow down, you bugger. Anyway, welcome on in. It's nice to have you here, and Auckland is going to be out of lockdown, so all my guests are arriving at 6 p.m. tomorrow morning to have a mushroom pasta and a prawn pasta dish. And I'll be eating on my own tonight. But we've got one person in the bubble, and that is Simon, who's holding the camera. All right, so let's have a look here. I've got an awesome selection of mushrooms. Now, you can get these guys from Countdown. Now, it doesn't matter what mushrooms you've got. This is this exotic by South. They're fantastic. I've got some shiitake, some enoki, and some oyster mushrooms. But don't worry about what mushrooms you got. It won't affect it. And remember, you're only cooking mushrooms if you're doing the vegetarian one. So we've got the prawns. So if you haven't thawed the prawns out, you probably want to run them under some cold water. I've got two different types here. One that's had the ends removed, they came like that, and another one, we're going to have to just hold them like that and then just pull that piece off, and we'll discard that piece and we'll hang on to that piece. But if they're not thawed out, get them under some cold water now so that they can start thawing out. We've got 3 cloves of garlic. We've got some chili, which is optional, and we've got 1 onion. We've got 1 sort of medium-sized carrot, and we've got a stick of celery. All right, so that's pretty important that we have those ready. Come around here, Simon. Let's have a little look over here. So this is how we're going to cut them up. I'd be thinking about who's your assistant right now, who's making the cocktail, who's doing the pasta dish, and who's your assistant, and then who drew the lucky straw for doing the dishes? Me here. Anyway, so we're going to cut them into little brunoise, which is just fine little pieces like that. I've got them ready for the mushroom one, but I am going to show you how to cut them up. So don't worry about that. You don't have to do that right now. I've got some white wine, 1 cup of white wine. I'm going to pour in 1 cup of cream, and I can do that now. So getting 1 cup of cream ready. There we go. Fill it right to the top. I've got some hot water, and I'm going to make a vegetable stock. I've got some ketchup. It's going to be ½ a cup. Now, if you're using, not my one, this is my ketchup, which isn't super sweet because there's no added sugar in there. That's what makes it good for you. But if you're using a different type of ketchup, your dish will be a little bit sweeter. Okay, we've got some olive oil. I've got some olive oil in here. I've got some Italian seasoning, 2 tablespoons. I'm using my one. Bad luck if you didn't get my one. I'm going to talk about what you can use this for. This will affect the taste if you've got a different Italian seasoning. It'll probably be fantastic. Might even be better than mine. Maybe. But anyway, I'll talk about what other things you can do with that if you bought that from the supermarket. Now for the mushroom guys, I actually got some of the stalks off the shiitake mushrooms because they're a little bit tough, and I've chopped some of those up really fine as well already. I've got some Parmesan cheese. I'm going to need 3/4 of a cup of that, grated. I've got some spaghetti here. I'm using this beautiful egg spaghetti, which, you know, whatever spaghetti you've got is fine. If you've got a gluten-free spaghetti, that's okay. If you've got a tagliatelle or fettuccine, won't matter too much. It's still going to taste really good. There's my Parmesan. I'm using some herb salt here. that I'm going to cook the spaghetti, put into the water, which is magic stuff. It's one of our biggest sellers from Gault's Deli that restaurants buy. It's really good stuff, and I'll tell you how you can get a free one of those when we go to use that. So I've got a pot on here, all the way from our friends at Briscoe's. So I've got some water in there, and I've just got it just on a very low heat there, and that's going to be for cooking our pasta. And I've got another big pot here ready for our mushroom pasta, and I've got another one over here for the prawn pasta. I've got wooden spoon ready because that will be kind of handy. Shall we make a cocktail? Pomegranate gin sour. Let's get rid of the cream. That's gone. All right, so for your pomegranate sour, you need a shaker, right? Now, if you don't have a shaker, I've got an old one. This was my mum and dad's. It's been around a few years. It's pretty awesome. So I've got that here. But if you don't have a shaker, then you could use something like this. This is New Zest. They make a fantastic pea protein, but this is their shaker. And so you could use a shaker, or if you've got a drink bottle, you could use that. So whatever you can lay your hands on, that you can do a little bit of cocktail balm and stuff, right? Okay, now we're going to muddle our drink. So I don't have a muddler, so I had this one option, which is a little cheese knife, and I thought the bottom would be good for getting in and crushing things up. So whatever you can get your hands on, or I've got a pestle. I thought it'd be a bit ordinary if I cut myself using that. So I've gone for the pestle to get in there and crush things up for making our cocktail. I remember once, you know, I'm talking about cutting myself, I was cooking on Good Morning TV. It was back in the day when I'd never done TV, and I got invited to do it, and I'm cooking a whole chicken and I'm searing it off in the pot. And I'm like, I'm cooking away, and I'm thinking, this pot is making some unusual sounds. And then I thought, you know what? This pot's not supposed to go on the heat. It's just one of those pots that can go in the oven. And I'm just searing this chicken off. It's getting nice and golden brown. And I thought, holy shit, my worst nightmare is about to happen. And it did. I literally quickly reached down. I got another pot out. I lifted this pot up that hold the chicken, and I turned it upside down. The whole chicken went crashing into the pot below. And then this pot that wasn't supposed to go on heat just went shattered everywhere, just everywhere. And I just carried on like nothing had happened. And afterwards the producer came downstairs, and I never met the producer, and they said, that was gold television, that is genius, do you want to come back? So I was known as the guy that, you know, did something wrong and it became entertaining. Let's hope I don't do that tonight. So the first thing we want to do is juice 30 mils per person, which is 2 tablespoons of lemon or lime juice for our cocktail. So I'm just going to juice some here so you can get that. And I hope you worked out who is doing the pasta dish, who maybe is doing the cocktail, because I'm just making one at a time. In this cocktail I could probably do 2 at a time. So somebody might be a little busy for a little while making cocktails. And you see I've got the smallest limes off my tree that I could find. But I just need to get enough. They look pretty good though, right? So get in there, give it a good juice. I see some people have posted photos on my Facebook of all the mise en place, we call it in the restaurant game, or, you know, preparation, and it sure as hell looked like some people were very organised. So well done to you guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's like something a little bit different. I thought with this lockdown, is there something I can do to help people? And I know from when I've cooked this dish before, people just absolutely love this pasta dish. It's really easy, but most of all, it's delicious. Let me get rid of those lemons. So I want to have 2 tablespoons or 30 mils, and don't you just love it when you're just a little bit short? I hate that. One more. They're so tiny, these limes. It's pouring with rain outside here. There we go. I'm going to just squeeze them in. There we go. Just enough. So into my shaker, the 30 mils of lime juice. I'm using Island Gin. This is from Great Barrier Island. I think it's incredible gin. They do a plum gin. If ever you're on the Great Barrier, or you can go onto their website and buy it, it's fantastic. So it's double the amount of the lime or lemon juice of the gin. So use whatever gin you like. We'll put that here. Now we need a little bit of honey, right? 2 teaspoons, which is 10 mils. So I've just popped this in the microwave for a moment. And there we go. And I knew this would happen. How do I get it, the last little bit out there? I'm going to use one of the mint leaves. There we go, to get that in there. Beautiful. Happy days. So, we've got our honey in here. We've got our lime juice. Now I'm going to put a heaped tablespoon of these pomegranate areoles. Super good for you. So we'll fool ourselves into thinking that this cocktail is actually good for us. Now hopefully you got some mint. I got some out of the garden here. I'm going to save an end piece for a garnish on top for each one. And then I'm just going to pull the leaves off like this. And then I'm going to just give them a little bruising in my hands like that and drop them in. And I will not be shy about how much mint, because the mint flavour with this is actually really, really good. There we go. And I'll put just one more, because I said 3 sprigs per person of the mint. So there it goes in there. Now, what I want to do is come along here with our thing, and then I'm going to carefully, and it's not long enough, this one, but I want to, you see there, all right? There we go, give it a good. Now, you could always take this out and put it into a bowl to make your life easier, but I didn't think about that until now, because this pestle is just a little bit on the short side. And what you want to do is you want to get the colour out of those guys, and you'll see it will all start, as you crush them, you'll get that mint flavour, and you will get, and you see the colour in there now, it's starting to look that lovely pink colour, a little bit more like that. There we go. Now what we want to do is we want to get 1 egg white in there. So I am going to, I've got an egg wash here, which you're not going to need, but I'm going to make a pie with the leftover of the pasta dish. So 1 egg white goes in. There we go. And I've got the egg there to make my egg wash in a little bit. Now, what I want to do is grab some ice. And I'm not going to be shy, I'm just going to get my hand in here. Plenty of ice. Now, the trick is here is to hold both ends of the shaker, because if you hold one end, chances are you might wear a shaker, or your friends do, and then it's like, somebody turn the music up loud please, let's have some cocktail barman music and give it a good shake. Let's go. Don't be shy. Oh, it's starting to get cold in my hands. And a little more for love. I'm puffed. All right. There's my workout for the day. Let's have a look at this guy here. Here we go. And a nice little bit of foam on top there. There we go. And just a little garnish on top. Get your laughing gear around that and see what you think. All right. We are underway. Cocktail. Should we have a taste, see if it's any good? Hopefully you guys are with me there. Cheers everybody. Welcome to my kitchen. You're all looking fabulous, by the way. By the time I finish this cocktail, you'll probably even look better. I reckon that's good. It's sour, a hint of the mint and the pomegranate in there. And that Great Barrier Island gin is sensational. Here are some on, you can have a little sip of that while you held the camera with another hand. Okay, let's give our board just a quick wipe here. And I'll try not to go too quickly, but now what we're going to do is we're going to start working on our vegetables. And if you can keep one lime or lemon to grate over the pasta at the last minute will be a really good idea, okay? So, and have you got a salad to go with dinner tonight? I've got one here. I've started it on it already, so maybe one of your assistants could just raid your fridge for whatever you've got. And that was literally, I just went to the garden and went to the fridge to see what I could get. So I'm going to throw that together shortly. But the first thing I want to do is get my garlic cloves. Now the thing is, now you want to have dry hands when you do this, because the problem is with getting the skin off garlic, it wants to stick to your hands if they're wet, and then you're forever trying to flick it off, right? So we don't want that. Now let's just come along, put the garlic sort of on the flat side down. There's all sorts of different ways you can get the skin off garlic. You can have a little tube you can roll it in, or you could put it into a jar and shake them and it will agitate the skin off, or you could just dry your knife beforehand, will help. Come along here and put the knife flat on, then just with the palm of your hand you're going to give it a gentle, so we don't crush the hell out of it, and then the skin will come off nice and easily and we're left with the garlic ready to go. And this was actually 2 little cloves in there, which is good. So, and you could give them all a little tap before you start. And you can put extra garlic in if they're small garlic cloves. Go for some bigger ones and just get the skin off. There we go. Or you get your assistant to do it. Much better. I don't have an assistant tonight. It's all me on my own. There we go. Oh, it's taking me forever. There we go. One last straggler there. Get rid of that. There we go. It's a little bit bruised, one piece, but that's okay. So just come along, and now we want to just roughly chop it up. There we go. And you know, it doesn't have to be really minced or anything. That will be fine like that, okay? So I've got a bowl. Now you could put all the veggies that we're going to do into one bowl, but I'm going to put them into a different bowl. So there we go. The garlic is there. The next thing I am going to do is the celery. I'm going to cut the celery into manageable size pieces, like that. Now you can use the leaves as well. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to save those for something else down the track. Now, cutting it into strips, like that. There we go. And then if you think they're a little bit too fat, come along, and because you want these small, because we're not cooking everything in the pot for a long, long time. So kind of the smaller size they are, the better, the quicker they will cook. But hey, look, don't worry about it too much. Now line those up like that. Now let's do our next one. There we go. And that one's looking a little fat, so I'll trim that in half. I'll do that one in half, and I'll do that one. That'll do. Line those up there. Now this guy, same thing. Get them cut up. And we're going to do this to all of the vegetables. Now come along here like this. Now what you want to do is roll the knife. Don't hold it like that. Hold it like this. And then we're just rolling the knife. Or you could cut like this. So you've got this option of rolling the knife like that. See what I mean? Roll it. I find that the easiest. Or you could just chop it like this. Take your time and see how I'm using this hand like a claw. I'm letting all these fingers hang on to it and just give it a good, using all those fingers, but watching them. You're watching your fingers and you want the knife to hit your fingernails if it's going to. And for all you girls out there with long fingernails, bad luck. There we go. That'll do just nicely. Let's get another bowl here. Put those in there. As I said, you can put them all into one bowl to save on some washing up if you like. Okay, so there we go with that. Now let's get our carrot, give it a quick peel. Here we go. And take the end off. We don't want to cut a great big piece off the end, just trim it a little bit. Now, you can, again, maybe you could slice it long ways like that, or you could go, I want to cut it into manageable size pieces. Cut a piece off, quite thin. Now roll it onto the flat side. That way it's going to be more stable. And come along here like that, and just slice it like that. There we go. Do the same with this guy. Roll it onto the flat bit. There we go. Okay. Now what we want to do is just sort of pile them up into, it'll be hard to do big piles of them, but you know, just get some like that. There we go. Now come along, and we've got sort of long matchsticks, haven't we? There we go, some there. And this is the hardest thing of the whole dish, everybody, so once we get through this bit, it's all plain sailing. Now, if it's just two of you cooking tonight, for two of you, and you're thinking, well, I'm going to have a heap left over, that's a good thing, because tomorrow you'll be able to turn it into the most awesome pie. And I have done one, and maybe I'll show you guys. There we go, just about there. Okay, now turn them around and use the knife to help line them up. There we go. And you can now, again, you're holding them with your claw hand. There we go. Or you could also do this, right? I've got a couple of stragglers there. You could just come along and put some pressure on the corner of the knife, and we're going to chop going around like this. So that's another way you could do it. And you don't need to worry too much about it, but we just want them relatively small, okay? Small little pieces. There we go. In they go. Now we've got an onion. Let's do the onion. So if you've got any hairy bits on the end, just pull those off. Cut. That's the root end. Cut this end off. Don't waste too much. Turn it round. Cut it in half. Now get rid of the rubbish. And I am just going to pull these bits off, like that. There we go. And another one. There we go. How's everybody doing? Are we getting any questions or anything going on there? Nobody's talking to us? All right.
Some pies and
some highs, high back. All right, here we go. So we've got an onion here. Now what we want to do is come along with the tip of the knife. I'm using this part of the knife for this job, and I'm not cutting all the way through. See, just like that. And my left hand is moving, and I've cut all the way to the edge, right? And now I'm using the claw hand to hold it together. I need to put some pressure in like that, and I've got the knife on 90 degrees like that, down the bottom, in the middle, not cutting all the way through, and then on the top, right? Now, that one's done. Let's do this other one again. So again, using the tip of the knife like that, just nice and slow so you can see. Come around here, down the bottom, in the middle, on the top. Now, we're going to do the same as what we've been doing, and we'll get all those nice little fine brunoise of onion there. Now, when you get to the end like this, don't throw that away. Roll it on the flat side like that, then just come along here and start trimming the onion up. And you should just be throwing that little bit away. Now, there'll be some long pieces now because we cut those off, so just do like what we did with the carrots. There we go. Now, next one. So you could just cut straight down like that, or roll it on the tip of the knife. There we go. Rubbish. There's a few little long ones there. Come along here. Put that in with the garlic. Or if you put them all together, that is no problem. So this is just about all of our prep done. Now, are you chili people? Are you going to go for the spicy version? If you're not going to go for the spicy version, you'll need to put a generous amount of black pepper in. It will be really boring and a bit one-dimensional without a spice. So I'm going to go for the chili, and I've got a couple of chilies, one out of the freezer from last year and one out of the garden. I don't think this one is very hot, so I'm just going to have a little taste. Just tastes like a green pepper. Boring. I'm going to go, I know this one is hot because this is from last year, and I just keep them in the freezer and they sort of cut up well.
It's a chili.
So this is a chili, yeah. There we go. Throw that little bit away on the stalk, turn it round, and I want to cut into some of those seeds. I want some spiciness going on here. You can see I'm pushing down on the tip of the knife. There we go, and I'm going to use some in the prawn pasta, and I'm going to use some that people could put on the side if they want to. Now, wash your hands, because if you go and touch your eyes or something, the chances are that that chili will be on there and you will not be happy. And who's on her second cocktail? Judy's on her second cocktail. Good girl. That is what we like to hear. Get a little bit of rubbish out of the sink there. Quick little rinse. I wonder how everybody's going. Are they sort of up to speed? I know some people had already cut up all the vegetables and had them ready.
Yeah, some are saying that. Some are saying what you just did is gold. Showing the veggies.
Awesome, cool. Okay, let's take these guys over here. Come over here, Simon. So, let's put them here. Chili. So I am going to now, I've got some hot water here, so I'm going to make some stock. If you're using that Australian water, you should be using a New Zealand stock. This makes 8 cups or 2 litres. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon in there, and you can literally drink this. If you're using some of that Australian salty water and you're supporting the Aussies, then you better taste it because it might be really salty. Some of them are a bit salty. That one is not. So I'm just going to mix that up. Nobody ever tastes stock, but I always say to people, have a taste of my stock because, you know, even just with some noodles, some prawns, some coriander, splash of fish sauce, a little bit of chilli. Oh, that's good. You've got a soup just like that. Okay, there we go. Happy days. Right, let's get some heat going here. So I'm going to get it up to a reasonable heat of medium. Now I have to be careful here because this is a Smeg induction cooktop and it's super fast, heats things up really quickly. So I may need to slow down for you if you're working on gas or just electric. So I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in there. Now we don't want the extra virgin olive oil to start smoking because the minute it starts smoking when you're heating it up, you turn it into a carcinogenic oil. So we just want it to have like a little haze on there. So olive oil is super good for us. The pepperiness that you feel in your throat when you taste it is the antioxidant. The average Kiwi's only consuming about 200 mils of extra virgin olive oil a year. In the Mediterranean, and for those four-wheelers out there, you've heard me say it before, in the Mediterranean where they live longer, 30% less cancer, half the amount of heart disease, 1/9 the amount of diabetes, they consume 25 litres a year. And you wait until you see how much I put on the salad. Right, so I just want it to have a little bit of a haziness going on. And I can test it by dropping just a little bit of onion in there. And I want to see it starting to sizzle in it. It's not quite there yet, but it's very close. Because that's all I'm wanting to do is sweat these vegetables down and soften them up before I put all the liquids in to start cooking. So let's just have another little, just give it a little shuffle around there. And you can see now, there you go. That's what we want to see. Can you hear it? Give it a little bit. You know, there's not smoke billowing out there. So let's get it all in. And the garlic's in there too. In it goes. Let's get our carrots in too now. Let's get our celery in there. And we'll give it a little bit of a mix up. I've got a wooden spoon. Now I'm going to do the mushroom one over here, so I'll just test that. And that is not hot enough yet. So I'll just wait a minute. In fact, I'll turn that one up a fraction because I want to try and have these ready at about the same time. Give these guys a stir here. You've got those prawns thawed out, hopefully. And if you're doing the mushrooms, we're going to cut the mushrooms up soon. But as I said earlier, I got some of the stalks and cut them into really fine pieces so that we didn't throw the stalks away, and that will get some flavour going in there as well. And we're just starting to get a little bit of heat over here, a little bit more in there. No, not sizzling enough yet. It's just starting, but we'll give that oil a mix around. Give it another few seconds. There we go, it doesn't take long. That's cooking away there nicely. You can always add more extra virgin olive oil if you see it starting to dry out in the bottom of the pan. But that's looking good there. Okay, let's have another crack. What do you reckon, everybody? Is that enough? Sizzling enough? I think so. Let's get that in. And at the same time, I am going to get the stalks in. So you might want to get one of your assistants cutting the mushroom stalks, whatever mushrooms you've got there. And carrots are going to go in. Celery goes in. There we go. Now, I haven't made this mushroom one before. It was just when I thought, oh, I wonder what we're going to do for vegetarians. I better come up with something. So this is the first time I'm doing the mushroom one. You can see over here, these guys are cooking nicely. So I'm going to get some chilli in now. There we go.
You save some.
There we go, a little bit in there. I haven't put the whole thing in. And for this one, for the mushrooms, I'm going to go with just black pepper. There's something just a little bit different. So you want to not really wander off at this stage. Now you need to make sure you've got 1 cup of white wine ready. You've got 1 cup of vegetable, fish, or perhaps even chicken stock ready. And you've got your 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. I won't quite get those in yet. And also I've got 1/4 cup of Parmesan here. Now, if you're using Italian Parmesan, it will make a difference. They've been doing it for thousands of years. They know what they're doing. I personally believe it's very different to our mass production Parmesan made in New Zealand. I mean, 500 litres of milk to make 1 wheel of Parmesan cheese in Italy. They literally put it into a big cauldron, they heat it up, they put rennet in, they strain it off, put it into a mould, let it dry out, then they take it out of the mould and they put it on a big rack and it goes into a swimming pool that's full of salty water. And they leave it there for a couple of weeks. They take it out, let it dry, and then it goes into a bank and it will stay there for a minimum of 12 months. The stuff that we get at Gault's Deli is normally 24 months old. It's aged, it's absolutely beautiful. And they literally come along, there are people that come along to test the cheese, to see if it makes the grade of Parmigiano Reggiano. So they don't come along and taste it. This guy comes along and he taps it. He taps the side of the cheese and he listens to it. That's how they work out whether it makes the grade. And he's been doing it a long time and he smells it as well, obviously. And then they decide, yes, it makes the grade. And then it gets the Parmigiano Reggiano stamp on the side of the cheese. And if it doesn't make the grade, they put X's on it. And years ago, that's what came to New Zealand. All the stuff that had X's on us, on the cheese, but us Kiwis didn't know what the hell the X's were for, so we were getting sold up a creek. So, good cheeses makes the world go round, I reckon. Okay, so we're still stirring this away here. Here we go. And this one over here, give that a good nice stir. There we go. It's about now I'd have an assistant and I'd go off and show you how to do something else, but I don't. So
we've just got veggies in there, haven't we?
Yeah, I've got the extra virgin olive oil in there. I've got the garlic we chopped up, the onions we chopped up, the carrots we chopped up, the celery we chopped up, and some of the chilli in there. And in this one, for the mushrooms, I've got the stalks from the mushrooms, but I haven't put any chilli in this one. But it's got all the same vegetables in there as the other one. So we want to cook these for about 5 minutes. And you can see now that it's looking a little bit dry on the bottom. So I'm going to put a little extra splash of extra virgin olive oil in there. There you go. Let's have a look in there. You can see now it's sort of, it's a little more, soaks it up pretty quickly. But that is flavour, people. Extra virgin olive oil is what you should be getting. That's the one that's really good for you. It's when they first press the olive and the first oil they get out of the olive is extra virgin olive oil. And then they have another go at pressing it again, and that's virgin olive oil, and then they have another go at pressing it again to see if they can get a bit more out, that's olive oil, and then they think, wonder if we could get some more out, so they heat it up, and that's pomace oil, and that's crap. You don't want to be using that. But extra virgin olive oil is the one that you will get all the really good health benefits out of. Okay, let's come over here, and that one needs just a little bit more. But this one is good, right? So now I'm going to put the Italian herbs in, everybody. The Italian herbs. So if you're using mine, You can put this into mince and make mince balls, meatballs, put it into burger patties, put it under the skin and on top of the skin when you're barbecuing it or doing a roast chicken. Maybe I can show you how to do a mushroom, the best mushrooms for breakfast using this on top. Put it in casseroles or put it in a prawn pasta. 2 tablespoons goes in. And straight away you'll start to smell how good it is. Give it a little bit of a stir and you'll see the bottom of the pan will dry pretty much straight away. But you should be going, oh my God, that smells so good about now. Now, let's start getting the rest of the things in. A cup of white wine. Preferably in it, not at it. There we go. And that's a great thing about induction cooktops, right? Is like if you spill something on it like that, you can literally just come along and wipe it up. And it looks all clean again, doesn't it? Great thing about induction, I love it. Okay, now I've got the cup of vegetable stock going in. And I've got to get in half a cup. Wait on, let's just have a little look over here. Yeah, I can probably start doing this one as well, I think. But what I'm going to do is just pull this off to the heat for a minute. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn that off for a minute. Just get that one off, and I'll carry on here. So I'm using my ketchup. I thought I was going to save the planet. You know, everybody's trying to save the planet these days. Invent a ketchup that had no white sugar, no high fructose corn syrup. So we sweeten it with vegetables. It was very clever, and it's a complete disaster. It's more expensive than the other ones, and of course, people don't really care much about their health these days, unfortunately. So I'm telling it how it is. Half a cup, and it's been a complete disaster. We've got to sell 7 units in a supermarket a week. We sell 2, so once we run out of bottles, we're not going to make it again. And I did spend, literally, it was about 100 grand down the drain. And the ironic thing is, today, I didn't have any at home, so I had to go and buy a bloody bottle of my own ketchup. Talk about, wasn't very happy about that. But anyway, it will make this taste really good. So in it goes, like that. Now I just want this to come up to the boil. Now I am going to get the mushrooms in here, right? So, and the other one. So look at these beautiful mushrooms I've got. Got the enoki, available from Countdown. They're just spectacular. So look at the stalks here. I don't want to throw them away. So I'm just going to carefully come along and cut the stalks off. And then now I've got all these beautiful enoki mushrooms there. Give them a little chop like that. And I'm going to get those in, because they are going to be flavour in there. You can stay there, Simon. So, you know, that's what I was talking about, is just taking that off and then just come along and don't want to waste the stalks, right? And then cut your mushrooms up sort of like that. Now, it doesn't matter what mushrooms, button mushrooms or even these sort of mushrooms, just cut them up. It's all good. Right, but I want to get the stalks in, and I've got the oyster mushrooms here. Just take those off, these over here. And here's the shiitakes that I have cut up already, and I'm going to get those in now. And I'm going to add some more oil because it's going to absorb them. So in the mushrooms go. This has come up to the boil if you're doing the prawn one. So now I will add the cream, which is 1 cup of cream. There we go. Give that a mix around. Now we want this to bubble away. So that's our beautiful sauce, but we need it to reduce down and thicken up. Now my pasta is going to take 8 minutes to cook, so you need to probably have a look on your pasta, because you want to time it that we put about when I think the sauce is nearly ready. I need to get my pasta cooking. Okay, and you could serve this on a plate or in a bowl if you're thinking about what to serve it in. Now look, I'm going to get some more extra virgin olive oil in here now. And I'm going to be quite generous. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I just think I just threw the lid in there, didn't I? Did you see? Anybody see? Somebody tell me? No?
No.
No? There was a little... okay. It's not in there. Oh well. I get to taste it later. There we go. Look at that. So we just want these to cook away for a little bit. Just a few minutes. And I'm going to get the oyster mushrooms in now too. I've got the enoki are going to go in a little bit later. Come over here. So, here we go. I'm just going to take some of these oyster mushrooms off. Look at these bad boys. Look at that. Just beautiful. I don't even really need to cut them. But I will, and just in half. So somebody might have bought some of these very fancy mushrooms. And the great thing now is that all these mushrooms are affordable in the supermarket. There we go. Give this just a little bit more. There we go. So this has come up to the boil, and you can see I just want it to be ticking away like that. I don't want it to boil over. So probably I can leave it on that, and then I need to come back every now and again. Just make sure with the wooden spoon, scraping the bottom of the pot to make sure it doesn't catch. I've got some Italian parsley and I've got some basil for garnishing, and I also had some of this beautiful oregano, and I'm going to put this in with the mushrooms because I know this is going to be really good. So when even if you've got some thyme, or you could just put a little extra, fresh herbs rather, because you've already got, the Italian in there. But I just had some, so I thought I'd throw it in. There we go. And now I'll put the Italian herbs into there. Oh, so hopefully you guys are all going, wow, that smells good once you put the herbs in. Oh, it even looks good, doesn't it? I think that looks good. Right, now let's get the liquids in so the white wine can go in there. And the vegetable stock. And the half cup of ketchup. There we go. That is in. Right. I'll take this out of the way. So all that needs to remaining to go in there is the cream, but I want to get this up to bubbling away. And the reason I want to get it boiling for a little bit is because we're cooking the alcohol out of the wine. That's just a lovely ragu as it is. Okay, so we'll let that start to bubble away there shortly. This guy's good. Again, I'm just going to scrape the bottom because the veggies will have a tendency to want to stick, and I'm going to turn the heat down just a fraction on it. There we go. Happy days. Get rid of this. I've got the enoki mushrooms that will go in later. And I'll be right back with you. I'm just having a little quick clean up of my board. And I've got this little straggler. He needs to go in. Don't waste him.
So we haven't put the cheese in yet?
No, cheese is not in yet. And I'm just about to grate some of this parmesan. Let me just show you quickly. If you had some mushrooms, I've got some of these other mushrooms for breakfast. Would be just awesome. Little bit of butter and the herbs, and these roasted for breakfast will be fantastic. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom. This is actually Pucara basil oil, and they do lemon, they do all different flavours. But just olive oil will be fine, just a little bit to stop them sticking on the bottom. And then I want to put like a teaspoon, well, about half a teaspoon, I suppose, in each one. Okay, just like that. Now I want to shake some of my seasoning in there, just a little bit. These will, if you cook these mushrooms, I promise you, you'll cook them this way all the time going forward. So there you go. There is those in. Now I'm going to get some Murray River salt, sprinkle a little bit of Murray River salt. Love this stuff. Just a little, grind it up. There we go. Now I've got a little bit of butter. I'm going to put, it's a very thin sliced piece of butter. I'm going to put that on top. Just a little bit, it's like just a tiny slice of butter, which will melt in there. That one needs a little bit more butter. Here we go. Cholesterol-free mushrooms. Oh yeah, I've got this guy in here. Let's have a look at this. Let me have a look. I forgot about that. This could be really embarrassing, couldn't it? Let's have a look and see what it's like. I have made a pie. So this is made with the prawn filling, the dish tonight. So if you've got any left over, maybe you can make a pie. Let's have a look. Let's see what it looks like.
Do you want to check the...
Oh, do I want to check that? That's a good idea. Mushroom one. Yeah, I think that's come up to the boil. Look at that. Oh, yeah. That is so, so good. I don't know whether I'm more excited about the mushroom or the prawn one. Let me get the cream in. And some pepper. Oh, right over there. Oh, look, this guy here. I've got to talk about this. The aromatherapy company, one of the coolest things I've got in my kitchen for making it smell great instead of all the kitchen smells. Right, I'm going to get plenty of pepper in. Keep going. Ground fresh pepper is so much nicer than, that sort of already ground stuff, but I think that's probably enough. So I'll let that start to simmer away there.
So you're only putting that in because there's no chilli? Yeah?
Well, I think the pepper will be nicer with the mushroom rather than the chili. But look at that, that is just looking fantastic. Okay, don't need to cook the wooden spoon, so I'll take the wooden spoon out. And I'm just looking for it to be thickening up. And it is sort of starting to. So I would be thinking that if you're up to where I'm at, get your water up to temperature for cooking your pasta. Okay, so, man, induction is just so fast, it's incredible. There we go. So I'm going to leave these guys to it. I'm now going to turn this one down just a wee bit. That's it. The mushroom one is thickening up just a little bit quicker because the mushrooms are absorbing a lot of the liquid. But okay, so I can leave those to it. Let's just have a look at this pie and see how it is. I'll just I think it's a great way to use up leftovers. I've done this pie before and it was just rock star. And I'm going to see if it is as good today. How good does that look? Does that look pretty good? But it's all in the reveal, isn't it? It's a little like doing a fondant chocolate pudding, isn't it? Like when you cut into it, what does it look like? But let's have a little look here like that. I'll put it on that big plate like that. All right, need some. I reckon if you went to the table like this, should we cut into it? Come on, we have to get nice and close to see what this is like, Simon. Let's get a big, should we cut it with a knife or a spoon? What do you reckon? Let's get in there. Just going to turn this down. Oh, my pasta water's come up to temperature. Everything's looking good. I'm going to put the pasta on any minute. Right, let's look at this. Should we push it over a little bit? Let's cut into it and see what it's like. Oh, I reckon that looks pretty damn good. Does that look good? Nobody's talking to me. It's not fair, is it? I don't know what the hell you're thinking. Probably all going, oh, he's got spaghetti in there. So you cannot put the spaghetti in there. Right, let's just put that to the side. But if you've got some left over, so I made one of these yesterday, and I made the pie with the leftovers. I've got another one in the freezer, so I just need to pull it out, let it thaw out before when I go to work in the morning, come home, oven on, in the oven. Happy days. Rightio, that's looking good. That is looking really good. So and you can see how those shiitakes have cooked down. They look absolutely wonderful.
You're saying the pie looks amazing.
Pie looks amazing, does, yeah, and tastes really good. Okay, so I am going to get the pasta cooking. So whenever in the restaurant, I use this herb salt, and I invented it for the restaurant, and we'd like anything that we cook in water. There's not enough water there. That's a bit ordinary. Let me just top that up. So yeah, anything I'm cooking in water, I would normally put the herb salt in. But if I'm cooking fish or steak or anything before I cook it on the barbecue, the herb salt. And once you start using it, it's great. So Gault Deli is my little business that was for supplying restaurants. And let me tell you, that's not a good business to be in at the moment. So, we deliver to people at home as well. So any business would be much appreciated. I know some of you already do buy off us. Thank you so much. Often I will put vegetables out of my garden in with the order. It's really appreciated. Gault Deli, if you just Google search it, any order over $100 and we'll give you a jar of this. You just need to write in the comments, free jar of herb salt, and they'll send one out to you. We deliver to your door in Auckland. If you're out of Auckland, then we can still generally get it to you. So as soon as that comes up to the boil, I put a little bit of herb salt, and you'll see how the water will just change colour, and that is flavour, especially when you cook vegetables and things like that. You can see now that we're starting to get a sort of a sauce consistency going here. It's starting to thicken up just a little bit. Okay, so I have got some more cheese to grate, because when we put the cheese in, that will help thicken up. Notice I'm putting salt in there, because if you're using good Parmigiano Reggiano, it'll have salt, remember, because it's lived in that swimming pool of salt for quite a while. Right, this is just about to boil, and then I'll get the herb salt in, we'll get the spaghetti cooking, and we'll be 8 minutes away, but we'll have to, as soon as the spaghetti starts cooking, is chop our prawns up. Now, the prawns literally will take no more than a minute to cook in there. They cook super quick. If you keep cooking them for too long, they'll end up being dry. So, look at this. Let's get some of this herb salt in. You see straight away it changes the colour of the water. You need one of those. That's the sales pitch, everybody. It is good. There we go. And that mushroom one is ready. So I'm going to put the gnocchi in there, and I'm going to just literally turn the heat off. There, you're getting steamed out there, aren't you, Simone? Okay, so I'm just going to turn the heat off on that one. and I'm going to get the spaghetti in. You know, I've said about sort of 50 grams per portion. I'll get plenty in there. Let it start cooking. I've got the heat up on high on that. I've got some parmesan to grate, and I've got some prawns to cut. So remember,
When do you put the tomatoes in?
the tomatoes go in very shortly, but not yet. I want them, the tomatoes are going to be like flavour bombs, and I want them to sort of retain their shape. Okay, so just pull this guy off, right? I've got a few here. Whoops. Let's turn that heat down a bit. Look at this. Come and have a look over here. So see, it's all boiled over, right? That's really embarrassing, right? But when it's induction, I can just literally come along here and clean it up. Pretty cool, right? Can't do that on a gas top. I'll just push these guys in. Hurry up. In they go. So this is made with eggs, this pasta. It's really good. It's one of the ones we sell at the deli. And it's taking a little while to get in there. There we go. And okay, so I've got the tomatoes ready, and I've got some parmesan ready for one, and I want that to just got to push these guys in. I don't want to go in, do they? There we go. So this pasta takes 8 minutes to cook. So have a look on your packet of your spaghetti and see how long it takes to cook. I know some of you are using courgette noodles, which is pretty awesome. If you're using courgette noodles, what I would do right now is drizzle a little extra virgin olive oil over them and season them with a little bit of salt and just toss it round now. That will make your noodles a little bit softer and not have quite the feel that they're raw. Anyway, so you know about taking these little pieces off, right? And luckily there's not too many of them. There you go. One more there, I think. There we go. Oh, there's more than one. Is anybody timing me 8 minutes? That'd be awesome if you could time me 8 minutes. Okay, so let's just chop up the prawns. Now you can have them as big or as small as you like, but I like them like that. Pretty roughly chopped. You could put them in whole if you want to have whole prawns, but you know, I've called it a bolognese, but you know, it's nothing like a bolognese, but I can call it what I like, right? Because I'm doing it, so you call it what you like. But it's interesting if I put something on YouTube. By the way, I've got lots of recipes on YouTube videos. There's all sorts, how to become the steak whisperer on the barbecue. There's all sorts. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel, and I'd love it even more if you'd like it. But the best thing is just to join us in the chat and the comments and tell us what you think if you cook one of the dishes. That's really rewarding for me, because everybody thinks you make a fortune off YouTube, but I make zero. And by the time you write the recipe, then you buy the food and you cook it, test it, and then you get somebody to come along and help film it with you, then you edit it. It's quite an expensive little process, but I really enjoy doing it. It's good fun. And so when you join in the chat, that's kind of the reward for me, by just telling me what you thought. Only nice things though. If you think bad things, then send me a message. Okay, so prawns are ready. Sauce is looking good. There we go. Perfect. Now let's get about 12 or a cup of these bad boys in there. Now I'll do the same over here, and I'm going to get the heat back on that one. Start heating it up, and you can see like how the gnocchi kind of look like it's spaghetti in there. See them in there? Very cool. So that is going to be delicious. That is going to be delicious. I'm going to put the parmesan in now, 3/4 of a cup. Goes in. Give that a stir around. There we go. Now, I want that to bubble away a little bit because I want those tomatoes to start cooking. The pasta's cooking, nearly ready. The one thing I need to do now is quickly grate some parmesan for the other one because I didn't do that. And then I want to show you what I'm going to do with a salad. And probably everybody's going, in it, not at it, in it, not at it. Well, I reckon that's about 3/4 of a cup with all the stuff on the side. There we go. Let's just give the knife a clean because it's got raw prawn on it. And rescue these guys. And I reckon those tomatoes in that sauce are now starting to get to know the carrots and the onions and the garlic and the celery. They're all hanging out there, and these tomatoes, I just need them to get really hot, so by the time you get to them, they are going to be just these flavour bombs in there. Right, in go the prawns. Well, we're going to put them all in. That was actually a 500 gram bag of prawns. Now, I need that to come up and bubble away for probably a minute to a minute and a half. The prawns will be cooked, but it will take about half a minute for it to come up to temperature. The mushrooms and everything is in there. That just looks fantastic. Now the parmesan is going in. And that spaghetti is pretty close. Give that a bit of a stir there. Okay, let me just have a quick taste. Little al dente, it's got a little bit of a bite to it. That's what we want. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to let it sit for a minute while I wait for this to come up. And we're going to leave that to do its thing there. And we are going to have a look at the salad. Let's finish the salad, right? So here we go. So I've got some rocket lettuce. I've got some French sorrel. So whatever lettuce you like. I've got some chopped chives. I've got some tomatoes out of the gun. I've got some red onion, really good for us. Some courgette. Now, and then I've got this cheese here. And I'm going to show you the cheese in a minute. Now, basil oil, right? But extra virgin oil. This is made with extra virgin oil. Look how much I'm putting in. Keep going, keep going. Beautiful. Now, I feel like spicing life up a little bit, so I'm going to put just a little chili oil in there just to get that going. Now, I am going to get the Saporoso. This is aged for 6 years in wood. It's ridiculously expensive, but you don't have to buy a big bottle like this. And then I'm just going to drizzle some of this in. And literally, you don't need much of this, so it lasts you ages. Look at that. Now, it will need some salt. In comes Mr. Murray River. Just a little bit. Right. Now I'm going to use my hands. You could use some salad thingies, but I'm going to toss this around. Look at that. It looks fantastic. Just make sure it's all mixed, relatively well mixed up. Now, looks a bit messy around the side of the bowl, right? And I'm probably about a minute. The spaghetti is ready, and the prawns have probably been in for about a minute, and everything is good. So I am turning the heat off on all of those. The spaghetti is done. The salad is pretty much ready, but let's let's try and zhuzh it up a little bit. So I've got some Brazil nuts and I've got some dukkha. This is kind of the unexpected, that people won't kind of know what you've done around the side of the bowl because it looked messy, right? Now I take my grater and I'm going to get some nuts, the Brazil nuts. And save getting my fingers, so I'll do about 3 or 4, well, 2 Brazil nuts over there, but you can see how it starts to look pretty sexy, right? There we go. One more. Now I've got this cheese at the supermarket. You know when you buy feta cheese? Feta cheese isn't from New Zealand. And finally, somebody is not trying to copy everybody else. These guys are making their own cheese. And it's goats, and it's kind of made like, it's handcrafted, it's authentic. There's no word of feta, brine goat's milk cheese, but it's kind of a bit like feta, and that was the cheese I had in there. I had some left, came 2 pieces like that. I put it in the freezer. Now I'm going to grate it over. So I've got a goat's cheese snow going over the top. I don't know what you guys reckon, just a little bit on there. So if you've got a little bit of blue cheese left over, you're thinking, shall I eat it, shall I throw it away? Throw it in the freezer and grate it over a salad. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a pretty nice looking salad. Happy days. Right, let me clean up here and I shall start plating up our pasta dish. Okay, I'm going to put the mushroom one in that, and the big thingy, Briscoes. Don't you love Briscoes? Look, how much was it? $39. Go when they're on special, much better. Be half that price. But they've got great deals. I love them. Okay, so I would get what you need to do. Our spaghetti's ready. So I'm going to take a bowl for my spaghetti and a sieve, and I've got another bowl here. I'm just going to lay this down over the top. I'll put this in the, it's got all that yucky prawn in there. There we go. Well, they're from Briscoes too. Maybe you can read that upside down. It says Simon Gault, G-A-U-L-T. Got to do something for a living, right? Because you guys don't give me any money for doing this. All right, look at this. Beautiful. Happy days. I have got some spaghetti here. Let's get it in. But I want to get some of the juice in there. Just a little bit. There we go. Been doing restaurants for a long time. I've got asbestos fingers. There we go. That's spaghetti. I've left a little bit of the juice in there. Just a little bit. Right. Now, I've got this. Now, this is our last chance, and really our only chance, to taste it and see if we like the seasoning. So, we haven't seasoned it at all. It's got the chili in there and the salt from the Parmigiano Reggiano. I reckon it needs more chili, but it doesn't need more salt. And they're going to be little bombs of flavour. So, to plate it up, I would line your plates up along there. So, if there's 4 of you, 4 plates, 6 plates, see if you've got a bit of a space you can line it up. Grab a ladle so that you know how, like I've got too many tomatoes in there for one person. But I want to make sure I've got a good amount of prawns in there. And I want plenty of sauce. Now I will come along and just toss that spaghetti around and take what I think is a nice portion of spaghetti in there. Now, just give it a little toss. And it needs one more thing, doesn't it, when you look at that? It needs one more thing, and I did say about it, but I was going to forget about it. And that is, it needs just a little bit of herb. I'll grab a board And we'll just take some of the Italian parsley. I can't find my fancy knife, so we'll go for the Briscoe's one because it never fails. This is not an ad for Briscoe's, they're not paying me to do this. You know, God loves a try, right? I'm going to tell you about the 4 Wheels of Health as well. We've been running this course for the last 3 years. You know, I lost a little bit of weight, like lots of weight, kept it off for 6 years, and now I help people lose weight. It's the most rewarding thing. It's a 4-week course. It's run on Facebook. It's basically, in fact, I'll give you a code if you want to do it, or you know somebody wants to do it. Simon G. Put it in the code. It will save you $60. It's the cost of 2 coffees a day, less than 2 coffees a day, and we get amazing results. It's on a private Facebook page. Look at this. Anyway, I gotta get an ad in somehow. It's so rewarding though when you meet people in the street and they've lost, you know, 30 kilos, some of these guys, even more. Right, let's get in here. Now, happy days, right? Little tomato parked over there, and then just a little bit more sauce around the outside. There you go. And maybe a little basil leaf around the place, because I told you to get some, so I kind of want you to use it. There you go. What do you reckon? And last but not least is a little Parmigiano Reggiano. Boom!
And lemon zest.
Oh, lemon zest. Yeah, I told you about that and I was going to forget. Just, a little bit of lemon zest over the top. Thank you, Simone. Just a little bit. Round the plate. And, you know, you get the aroma of it straight away and it will make a little difference. Is that sexy? I reckon it's sexy. Okay, let's get into this one. And you know what? Briscoe's have done such an outstanding job. Everybody going, oh, he's going on about Briscoe's again. Well, there's no money in bloody YouTube, so I've got to go on about something, right? And it's so good, right? I'm just going to serve it like that. Happy days, right? And let's get some garnish on top of that. Let's take some more of it, sorry, on your way here. Well, I hope you guys are sort of kept up okay and you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed doing it. If I get lots of comments, people wanting me to do more, I'm happy to do more of these. Let's get plenty of basil, just tear it up over the top here. This one obviously won't need. And I was going to talk to people about how to do the chicken, wasn't I? I completely forgot. But anyway, hopefully you cook the chicken in a separate pan. I would have seasoned the chicken haunches, cut them into small pieces, season them with a little bit of salt and pepper, or even the Italian seasoning, into a pan with some extra virgin olive oil that you've heated up. And I think that would be the best way, and then adding it to the pasta at the end. Sorry, I should have said about that. Sorry, Mary. You probably had way too many cocktails by now anyway, so it doesn't matter. There we go. All right. Happy days, everybody. If you want to do that 4 Wheels of Health course, it starts on the 13th of March. It's 4 weeks, 30 days, live videos with me and Sean, the nutritionist. If you want to get better sleep, lose weight, and not eat twigs and berries, then come and join us. Anyway, I am going to tuck in. Which one are you going to have, Simone? Are you going to have this one or this one? Both. And we've got that nice salad, and we've got a pie to eat as well. and we've got a cocktail that hasn't even been touched. So maybe I am going to make a couple of cocktails fresh. Pomegranate gin sours. Love your work. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you've had a good time. It's been fun, and post lots of photos on my Facebook of what you've done.
Everyone's really happy.
Everybody's really happy. That is awesome. If you're happy, I'm happy. And don't forget, please subscribe and join us in the chat. See you guys later. Goodbye.